السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. Last week, Ikhwani, we gave you 4 of the ways in which the companions came into this religion. May Allah be pleased with them. And that was part 1 of what we'll complete today because of the ibr and the hikm that's in it. It's a lesson for all of us. And the 5th way that the companions came into the deen is clear and obvious. It's from the dawah that the Prophet gave, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Keeping in mind, he was in a very hostile environment that was not receptive to al-Islam. What we have to deal with right now in terms of Islamophobia pales in comparison to the toughness that the companions had to deal with. A lot of us can camouflage ourselves and our Islam, and we make the indimaj, and we just go with the flow. And although they say things we don't like, still during this time, for the most part, we don't compare to the companions and what they had to go through. So they heard his dawah, and many of them accepted it in that way. May Allah Azza wa Jalla be pleased with them. Why? Because of the ayat that we mentioned last week. وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. We gave him a light by which he can exist and walk with the people. He's a Rasul. The word Rasul, Risala, the letter, the message, is his job to relay the message. It's his responsibility, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, not to sit and to do anything. And this is one of the wisdoms behind the first few ayat that were revealed. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Only a few ayat were revealed. And then some days, some time went by. And then the next 7 ayat that were revealed, Surah al-Mudaththir. Mudaththir is the one who was sitting down and he was wrapped up. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya ayyuha al-Mudaththir. Qum fa'andir wa rabbaka fakabbir. Ya Muhammad, You're wrapped up like that. And when you're wrapped up, you're comfortable. You're relaxing. You're taking it easy. Allah told him, stand up and go and warn and make takbir of your Lord. Let the people in your environment know that Allah is Akbar and A'zam, and Allah deserves to be worshipped. So he started giving dawah, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. And when he gave dawah, a number of people came into Islam. Our mother Khadija, Abu Bakr after her. So Rasulullah gave dawah, Abu Bakr and Ali accepted Islam. Abu Bakr, after accepting Islam, went and started giving dawah. The Ashar al-Mubashirin, Abu Bakr gave 7 of them a dawah to Allah. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And that was what his companions were upon. They accepted Islam because he gave dawah, and that's our job. It's not just for him, it's for everybody sitting here. He told us in the Quran, وَلْتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى اللَّهِ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Let you people be an ummah that's giving dawah ila Allah. Not dawah to your madhab, not dawah to yourself, not dawah to your sheikh, not dawah to your hizb, not dawah to qawmiyah. Let you be an ummah, everybody. You have to get in where you fit in. That's our deen, giving dawah to Allah. So those people accepted Islam in a hostile environment. And the companions were not afraid of being different. Ridwanullah alayhim. Second way today that they accepted and embraced the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the fact that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was an uswa. He was a qudwa. He was an example. His example inspired people. His example. Allah said about him in the Quran, as you all know, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Ya Muhammad, you are on a high level of akhlaq. Your adab, the way you are with people, you are on a high level. Our mother Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, she said his akhlaq was that Quran right there. When you saw him, you saw the risala that he gave dawah to. But there are people who are not going to listen to dawah if our words don't correspond with what we're saying, with what we're doing, if our actions don't correspond. And that's why the Nabi said in the Quran, وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ أُخَالِفَكُمْ إِلَى مَا أَنْهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ إِنْ أُرِيدُ إِلَّا الْإِصْلَاحَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُ. I don't want to go against what I'm telling you to do. I'm telling you to be nice. I'm telling you to be easy. I'm telling you to be gentle. I'm telling you to do this and do that. And I go against that. He said, I don't want to go against that. I'm going to say what I say and then follow it up. So people saw him. Listen, when he went to Khadija and told her what happened, she started saying, no, Allah is not going to leave you because you do this, you do this, you do this, you do that. You're good to the weak. You take care of the poor. You tie the ties of religion. She started saying things about his akhlaq and his behavior, of what she knew. May Allah be pleased with her. One of the companions was a young man like this man, 10 years old, Anas ibn Malik. He said, I never came and met Rasulullah outside, inside, Masjid. I never saw him except he would greet me with a broad smile on his face. That was from his akhlaq. There are people from amongst us, their faces are fixated with anger. It's hard for him to smile. And when you look at him and greet him, he gives you this thing that he's antisociable. And he's a brother amongst us, but he won't smile. How do you think people want to respond to you if you're like that? When you don't smile and you look serious, you look mean and angry, that tells person, leave me alone. I don't want it to, even if that's not what you're meaning. You have to force yourself to smile so people will feel like this is someone I want to approach. And that's how he was, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So as a result of that, the Jew, Abdullah ibn Salam, may Allah be pleased with him, he was from the ulama of the Jew. The mention of Rasulullah is in the Torah and the Injil. The mention of the companions in the Torah and the Injil. So Abdullah ibn Salam, being a scholar of the Jews, he was waiting. He knew Rasulullah was coming. He says, so I went when he was sitting with all of the people, giving them dawah, making himself accessible, answering questions, giving them dawah, reading the Quran. He said, I went and I looked at him for the first time. And when I looked at him, I knew his firasa. I knew he had a face of a person who didn't lie. He's not a kadab. From the good akhlaq, not to lie to the government, not to lie to the people you work for, you work with, not to be a person who's always lying. If you're a liar, people are going to say this is a problem. So the Nabi was an example, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Salman al-Farisi, he was a khadim of a rahib. He used to take care of a monk. So he was a Christian. And then he left that stuff. And then he was put in slavery. And then he went to Al-Medina. He read about Rasulullah, that he doesn't walk in the marketplaces and scream and shout and behave ignorantly. That was what Salman al-Farisi knew. He had certain things on him. Salman al-Farisi knew. He says, so when I came to Medina, I went to him to listen to him. And I was looking for those things. I came to fight, and he accepted Islam because of what the Torah said, the Injil said about him. And then he saw that the akhlaq of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam matched that. Salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. He was a prototype, a blueprint, an example. When Muslims behave in the best way, then other people become Muslims. The biggest Muslim population is in Indonesia. Indonesians, about 300 million people. How did they become Muslims? Arabs from Yemen went to that part of the world, Indonesia, and they gave dawah with them. And they did business with them. So the people in that part of the earth accepted Islam. Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, that whole area, Far East Asia, the dawah of the Arabs reached them. Why? Because the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, along with his companions, he did that. Now, we see the situation in Syria. HTS. I won't bite my tongue for anyone. HTS has in it people who have a history. When the problem of Syria happened, they were barbaric. The way they killed some of the soldiers of that Taghut, the way they killed people who were from the Nizam, they killed them in a way that was inhumane. Those people are war criminals. Right now, HTC, right now, there were people who make takfir, khawarij, back then. Now, those same people don't seem to be doing that. They're not killing people like that. They're being and sounding intelligent when CNN, BBC, and Al Jazeera are interviewing them. They're talking with common sense now. The point is, what if they start killing people? Daesh, are they a good example of Islam? My parents would never accept Islam if they thought that was Islam right there. Most people, they'll say, look at these Muslims. That's Islam? These people are barbaric. The Nabi wasn't like that. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He instead was an example. So therefore, what's the lesson? We have to be like that. Everybody here, we know kuffar. We have non-Muslim neighbors, non-Muslims who are sharing spaces and places with us. Relatives who are non-Muslims. We have reverse here, non-Muslims. We have to give dawah to Allah. Dawah with our attitude. Dawah with our akhlaq. Say what we mean and mean what we say and live up to it. Say that we believe in Allah alone and let's not fear anybody except Allah. Let's say we believe in Yawm al-Qiyamah, which we do, inshallah, then let's be upright. Ya Rasulullah, tell me something I can only ask of you, and you can only, the only one you'll be able to answer this thing. He says, say, I believe in Allah, and then be upright. Say, I believe in Allah, and do the best that you can. Be the best version that you can be without coming up short, to the best of your ability. Number 3, they came into the deen of Islam through wilada. They were born. Like the vast majority of the people in the first row, the second row, the third row, and in this masjid. You people came into Islam because your fathers and mothers, ahdu ilaykum hadha deen. I said it before and I'll say it again. I'll say it again. Everybody here is deeply indebted to your parents. Not just for giving you life, bi-idhnillah, but because of them, bi-idhnillah, you're a Muslim. Had you been raised as a non-Muslim, would you have ever come to Islam? So, Al-Hassan, Al-Hussein, Umama, Abdullah ibn Zubair, they were the people who were born in Islam. After those companions embraced, they started having babies. So to show their virtues, listen. Rasulullah came out to the people, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he said to them, there will be 70,000 people from this ummah. May Allah make us from those 70,000. May He make all of us in this masjid, men and women, from those 70,000. Anyone who hears my voice, may He make us of the 70,000, because that's not a lot. Right now, we have about 3 billion Muslims right now. What about all the Muslims who have passed over the last 1,400 years? A lot of Muslims. May Allah make us of the 70,000. He said there will be 70,000 people who will go into Jannah, and they won't have any adab, and they won't have any hisab. Allah won't ask them, why did you miss prayer? Why did you miss this? Why did you do this haram? Where did you get that money from? They won't be asked any muhasabah, no question, nor will they be punished. They'll just go straight into Jannah. Rasul just got up and he left, leaving it to the companions. Try to figure it out. They said, some of them said, hum awladuna alladhina wulidu fil Islam wa lam yudriku al-jahiliyyah. The 70,000 that he's referring to are our children who were born in al-Islam and they never knew Jahiliyyah. The companions' children. So they came into Islam through their parents. Listen to what Umar said about this. It's critical. He said, may Allah be pleased with him, "Man lam ya'rif al-jahiliyyah, lam ya'rif al-Islam." He said this to the Arabs. The one who does not know Jahiliyyah, he doesn't know al-Islam. What does that mean? Ibn Taymiyyah was never in Jahiliyyah. Al-Imam al-Nawawi, never in al-Jahiliyyah. Al-Bukhari, a Muslim, never in al-Jahiliyyah. What did he mean by that? What he meant by that was Umar. Umar knew what Jahiliyyah was like. He knew that in Jahiliyyah, they were making shit, killing their daughters, drinking, highway robbery, killing each other, taking money from the poor, oppressed. He knew all of that stuff in Jahiliyyah. So when he came into Islam, he had an appreciation for al-Islam because he knew Jahiliyyah. Some of you who were born and raised as Muslims, but you were not practicing, and now you're practicing. My revert brothers, I ask all of you, by Allah, my revert brothers, I had Jahiliyyah. Would any of you people here want your daughter who's a Muslim, born in Islam, would you want her to be exposed to Jahiliyyah? Would you want your son? Yeah, our children are challenged. Some of them are difficult. May Allah guide us and guide them. Make islah between us. May Allah make it easy. Some of our children are an issue. And some of us have been blessed with children that are, mashallah, muhadhabun. Nice. May Allah increase them in khair. Although some of our children are, difficult to deal with sometimes, our children are not like we were. My children are nowhere near how I was in Jahiliyyah. Nowhere near. So if a person knows Jahiliyyah, he'll have an appreciation for the nur that was given to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and now he's trying to use that to navigate. Does that mean when you're born in Islam, you become an angel? It doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean that. So what's the lesson here? The lesson here is these little kids that we have, one of our biggest responsibilities is to ensure that they remain in this deen. That's a responsibility, that these shabab remain in the deen. كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته, as he says sallallahu alaihi wasallam. والمرأة راعية وهي مسؤولة عن بيت زوجها وولده. All of you have responsibilities. All of you are shepherds. All of you are shepherds. Shepherd is the one who takes care of his animals. You are shepherds, all of you. And all of you will be questioned about your flock. And in that hadith, he said, a woman is a shepherd and responsible for her husband's house and for his child. So you got to marry a girl who's on the same page. Someone who's going to help you keep Islam in the hearts and the minds of your child. And the woman, likewise, she has to marry someone who's on the same page as her. Someone who's going to help her keep the child on al-Islam. So that's the third way. That's 8 ways, including last week. The last way that we want to mention today, inshallah, really important. And for the reverts, we have to use this and we have to look at this, man. Salahuddin, the companions came into al-Islam through the dua of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which goes to show the importance of a dua when it comes to al-hidayah. People being guided. Even if he or she is a Muslim, they're still doing things we don't like or that's incorrect. You got to make dua. Allah commanded in the Quran, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ عُدْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ عَنْ عِبَادَتِي سَيَدْخُلُونَ جَهَنَّمَ دَاخِرِينَ. Your Lord said, make dua to me and I will answer your dua. Those people, الَّذِينَ يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ عَنْ عِبَادَتِي. Ibadati here means a dua. الَّذِي يَسْتَكْبِرُ وَيَتْرُكُ وَيَتَخَلَّى عَنِ الدُّعَاء. He's going to enter into the Jahannam and he's going to be low and debased. This ayat is talking about dua. He said, a-dua huwa al-ibadah. So I need my mother, my father, and my relatives to come Islam. I give them dawah. I try to be an example to the best of my ability, and I don't give any dua to Allah. الَّذِي يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ إِلَى صِرَاطِ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. I know dua. No, he made dua. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The tribe of Al-Aus, he made dua. Allahumma, oh Allah, guide Aus and bring them to me as Muslims. The whole tribe became Muslims. Can you imagine? A whole neighborhood in Florida becoming Muslims? Do we think only Rasulullah can make a dua and Allah only listens to him? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Of course not. The whole tribe. When he went to a Ta'if to give dawah to those people and they threw rocks at him and he was leaving, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the angel came and said, Jibril said, Ya Muhammad, this is the angel of these mountains, tremendous mountains in Mecca. You'll marvel at them when you get a chance to go to Mecca. May Allah open up the way for you all to go to Mecca so that you can walk on the land that the prophets and the messengers walked on, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajma'in. And so that you can walk on the land that those companions spread this religion. Jibril said, you see these mountains? This is the angel. He never came down to the dunya before, ever. It's his first time here. You order him, crush those people who did this to you, he's going to pulverize them. Rasulullah said, no, I pray and I hope that Allah brings from their loins children, a generation who will worship Allah. And that's what happened. A-dua. A-dua. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam made dua. Oh Allah, guide one of the two Umars, Abu Jahl or Umar ibn al-Khattab. Allah guided Umar from the da'wah, the dua of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he used to make dua for people. Abu Huraira's mother was an antagonist. She was a problem. You think your mother's a problem? Abu Huraira's mother was a problem. He used to curse Rasulullah, shatam, sab, arami. She used to say all kinds of things that used to break her son's heart, to the degree where Abu Huraira, anytime he would leave his mother, it was crying. People saw him in the street and they knew Abu Huraira just visited his mother. It was like clockwork. His mother just made him cry from her ether of what she said about the deen and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah, not knowing the ilm al-ghayb, said, Abu Bakr, Abu Huraira, what happened? What's the matter? He said, my mother, she keeps talking about you, the deen, and it's hurting me. He said, go back to your mother. When he went back to his mother had accepted Islam from the dua of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So those are the ways that the Nabi of Islam's companions sallallahu alaihi wasallam came into al-Islam. And each one of those ways is an example for us. Each one of those ways is a lesson for us. And one of the most important lessons is he was an example. His community was an example. The way they existed. They didn't give neighbors problems. Their children didn't give the neighbors in this neighborhood here, this area. On Saturday, when our kids go to these stores to buy things, whatever they're gonna buy, we have to remind them, don't go in there acting foolish. Don't go in there making a hard time. People are looking at you. It's like me, an African American. I got out of the car and I went into Publix, and there was a white lady in the car. As soon as she saw me walking, she locked that door. She locked the door. She thought I was gonna rob her. Why? Because of my color. She don't know me, but that's what's in her head. All black people, all of them are criminals and rappers and this and this and that. That's what these people say about Arabs. That's what these people say about Pakistanis. That's what these people say about Africans. That's what these people say about all of us. So we have to behave in a way where we understand we're ambassadors, man. Don't go out dressed looking like a bum. That doesn't mean you have to wear your Friday best, but people are clocking us. People are watching us. They're looking at us. So we got to be examples. I told you last week, one of the ways they came into Islam is that ayat of the Quran in Surah At-Tawbah about the 8 categories of people who get zakat. And there's a group called al-mu'allafa, qulubuhum, non-Muslims who are inclined. You give him zakat so that he'll come. I told you the man's name is Al-Aqra ibn Habis. Al-Aqra ibn Habis. Rasulullah gave him 100 camels and gave him multiple times. He went to his people and said, hey, people, go and accept Islam. Muhammad is going to distribute wealth. And he gives it as a man who's not afraid of being impoverished. He said, so me and my people, we went in, we accepted Islam, just looking for the money. We just wanted zakat. But once we took the money and we were with Rasulullah and we saw the way he was with the people, the way he was with the youngster, the way he was with the elder, the woman, the way he was greeted gentlemen. They said, after we saw that, Islam became more beloved to us than everything else, even the wealth that we received. And a proof of that, they gave all that money up. Fi sabilillah. Sulaim, I told you last week, Sulaim was asked by the richest man of Medina, Abu Talha, I want to marry you. She said, nah, you're a kafir. I'm a Muslimah. But if you say La ilaha illallah shahada, that'll be my mahar. He said, I said it just to marry her. I said it just to marry her. That's it. He said, but after I married this Muslim lady, and I saw how she was, I saw how my stepchildren were. You know, they say, don't treat me like a stepchild. Sometimes you don't want to be in a relationship with stepchildren. Sometimes they don't like the father, the stepdad. He said, when I saw those stepkids, I saw the lady, I saw the companions, how they dealt with me. I saw Rasulullah, how he dealt with me, how he dealt with it. He said he became more beloved to me than anything else. And Allah revealed the ayat in his regard, in his haqq, in the haqq of Abu Talha. He told Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, I'm the wealthiest man in Medina. I'm giving you this property over here, the most expensive property that I own. And it's the most expensive property in all of Medina. It's for you, fi sabilillah. Sell it, do whatever you want to it. And Allah revealed the ayat of the Quran, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. That's a dalil that the man made inqiyad, that he really believed. You will never be a real believer until you give freely from what Allah has given you. That's what the companions did. And that's why Allah described them as in the Quran, هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا. They're the real believers. When he conquered Mecca, he could have stayed in Mecca. But he remembered what the Ansar did for him when they opened up their doors for him. He said, I'm going to leave Mecca. I'm going back to Medina. All of the Muhajirin who were from Mecca, all of them, they were originally from Mecca. They said, we're going too. Now, we came to this country, our parents came to this country for a better life. If Morocco got itself together and Morocco lifted itself up and started competing in the dunya with the West, you know, the system, the money and all of that. Well, you think we're going to stay here? Who's going to stay here? If the life in Morocco or Egypt or wherever we come from, you're not going to stay here. You're going to go back to be in your own turab, your own dirt. My mother comes from North Carolina. Wallahi, my mother, when I was young, I used to see my mother eating the red clay from where she lived. We said, Mom, what's wrong with you? She told us, this clay got a taste to it. What she was saying was, that's where she comes from. That's the dirt of the earth where she comes from. Who doesn't love his own house, his own place, his own nation? Who? What? Those companions. They said, we're not going to stay in Mecca and get our homes back. We're not going to do that. We're going back to Medina. They gave all their wealth. And so that's the challenge here to this community. Look at those companions and to be a reflection. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم وثبتنا الله جميعا على الصراط المستقيم. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Amma ba'du. I just need 2 minutes, inshallah, extra over the time, if you don't mind. On Wednesday, we were praying Dhuhr. A revert brother came, African American. And when we were praying Dhuhr, I was sitting in the chair and he prayed next to me. And I could see he didn't really know what he was doing. He came in on the 4th rak'ah. So we made taslim, and he made taslim. And he jumped up and he was about to leave. We said to him, where you going, man? Where you going, cuz? Situation. You have to make 3 more rakat. He's been a revert for about 2 years. He's in a masjid. And for 2 years, no one taught that brother how to pray and make up prayers that he missed. How can somebody come to Masjid As-Sunnah and that's his situation and we just leave them? Everybody here, you look at something that's going on, she's not wearing proper hijab. Something he's doing and his shakl, his outer appearance. Something that he's not doing, the way he's praying. I've seen situations where a new person will come and they're not facing the qibla. And people will just leave him praying. And they won't take him and face him towards the qibla. Nafsi, nafsi. That was Wednesday. Yesterday, Thursday, another brother came. He was not a revert. He was born in Islam, but not raised. His mother is Maghrabiya. She's from Morocco. And the father is Puerto Rican, from Puerto Rico. What a mixture that is. Morocco and Puerto Rico. He grew up without Islam, not practicing. But he started practicing recently, and he goes to a masjid. One of the brothers who was there, my brother Feiruz, he said, I recognize you from that place. When we prayed, and he prayed next to me, he didn't know what he was doing. I asked him, what's your name? After the salah, he told me his name. His name means fire, to burn in Arabic. It means to burn. And we started telling him, you have to learn how to pray. But we didn't know how to overwhelm the guy. You got to change your name. You got to get a circumcision. You have to learn how to pray. You have to do that. You can't do that. Circumcision, right up. We got to take it easy. But the point, this last point, what's the last point? How is it that we're going to leave people, man, and not teach and educate? When I kind of go off and I get triggered and I say, move up, move up, move up, I always remind myself, stop doing that, because I get triggered. But the reason why I get triggered is, how can I stand here and not say it? How can I not say it? So I don't mean to put anybody down, and I don't mean to come across being aggressive. I don't want to do like that. But the question is, we have to give dawah to these people. All right. Those kuffar. Well, at least our own people, we got to give dawah to. بَلِّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً. Tell people about me, even if it's a small thing. You go into someone's house, it's your house or whatever. You're working for someone, you go into the house, you see something that's not right, you tell them in a nice way. You shouldn't have crosses, you shouldn't have a Christmas tree, in a nice way. We got to give da'wah to Allah. So in concluding, Ummah to Islam, we're asking the people in this community to donate generously to this masjid, not for any individual, but so that we as a community, a masjid, can do our responsibility of spreading Islam. May Allah have mercy upon all of us and forgive all of us and make us of those people who are truthful in word and deed. And may He subhanahu wa ta'ala cause the love of the companions to be in our hearts and our spirits and our minds, and make it something that's really a part of our DNA and who we are. And finally, may Allah Azza wa Jal help us all to be upon the Sunnah of the Nabi and upon his way. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taslimin kathira.